Welcome to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost with me, Charly Leetham. If you're a small business owner looking to simplify technology and get real, actionable advice from someone with 35 years of IT experience, you're in the right place. Every episode, I'll dive into tools and systems like email, CRM, marketing and tracking, and I'll break them down into bite-sized tips you can use straight away. Your time is valuable, so let's get straight to the point. It's time to work smarter, not harder. Rise and Shine is your dose of business tech inspiration with me, Charly Leetham. Episode number 655, and as we hurtle towards Christmas, I'm going to be doing some more end of year type things. So today we're going to be talking about tech traditions you might want to consider starting in 2026. Let me set the scene. It's a new year. We've got a fresh start. We all have good intentions. By February, or even sometimes earlier, we just walk back into it. We have the same tech chaos that we had last year, the previous year. So today I want to talk about these tech traditions that you might want to consider starting in 2026. These aren't going to be things that you go, oh, I resolve to do these things and then you abandon them. I think these can become recurring practices that make your tech life easier throughout the year. So let's talk about the tech reviews that actually help, the things that I think will actually help you throughout the year. The first one is reviewing what tech you're paying for. Now, I know I did this in a recent episode, and I'm just going to say again that, and I say because I say it regularly, if I am repeating myself in these episodes, it's because I consider the issues are important and they should be important to you. So I'm just going to keep saying them. But the first one is, let's talk about the tech that you're still paying for versus the tech that you're still using. Once a year, go through your subscriptions and your software licenses. What are you paying for that you haven't used in 6 months? Did you install a WordPress plugin for a project and then forgot about it? You didn't continue the project is wrapped up, but you're still paying for that plugin and you don't need it anymore. Did you change away from one email marketing tool to another, and have you forgotten to cancel the first one? Did you buy a domain for a project you thought you might pursue a couple of years ago and you haven't pursued it? You're still paying for that domain. Do you still need to pay for that domain if you're not going to do that project? These sorts of annual reviews mean you catch these things before you've wasted another year of subscription fees on something that you may not use. Now, remember that a lot of subscription fees, they charge you a year in advance, and once you've paid them, they say, no refunds. So you need to be on top of it. You need to know what you're paying, when it's due, and whether you still need it. Do a password audit at least once a year. Pick a day. Maybe it's your birthday. Maybe it's New Year's Day. Maybe it's Valentine's Day. Maybe it's St. Paddy's Day. Everything's early in the year, you notice? Funny that. And audit your passwords. Which accounts are using weak passwords you created years ago? What accounts are reusing the same passwords across multiple sites? Which accounts don't have two-factor authentication enabled yet? You don't have to fix everything in one day, but identify the highest risk accounts and update them. Annual password audits catch the accounts you set once and never thought about security again. It's such a big one. It's so easy to skip over it. Yeah, I'll get back to that. I'll change that password later. If you set a day and say, I'm going to look at this tier of account that I'm using, and then make sure you do different ones every time, you're going to be able to rotate your passwords fairly regularly. Backup your testing, or backup testing, not just backup your testing, backup testing. I know I've spoken about this one. You might have backups running automatically, but when was the last time you tested a restore? At least once a year, actually restore from a backup to verify it works. Download a backup file, make sure you can at least open it. Restore your website to a test environment and confirm everything works. On your local computer, test the backup by restoring a file. Backups you've never tested are backups you can't trust. You know, or you won't know they're broken until you desperately need them. Backups are another one. I've had people say, yes, I've got a backup, and we've gone to it and it's like, it's corrupted. We can't use it. Let's go back. Oh, you don't have anything. It's just overriding the same one time and time again. which is fine, but you've got to be testing that those are actually working. The next one is domain and SSL certificate renewal checks. I like how we put these in the same bucket. They should be split out these days. So let's talk about that. Once a year, review all your domain registrations. When do they expire? Are they set to auto renew? Is the payment method current? Are the renewal notifications going to an email address you still check and can receive email on? The other point I'm going to add to that one is make sure that the registrant email, the email address for the registrant of the domain name is current and you have access to it. You can still have an admin contact who can get emails on the domain, but if you need to do something, you often need to verify it as the registrant. And if you don't have access to that email address, all of the processes break. Now, one of the reasons that domain names tend to expire is someone's forgotten to update the credit card and or renewal notices are going to an old email. So, they're not getting the renewal notices. The auto renewal kicks in, credit card fails. The notification that the credit card payment has failed goes to an email address no one's receiving on. It's all a mess. So doing these reviews regularly, annually at least, will prevent losing domains. Now I'm going to bring SSL certificates into it and just address it because I did say I'd talk about it. SSL certificates these days are typically provided for free by most hosting providers. As part of that, they have an auto renewal process that those certificates will renew either every 90 days or once a year. It depends on who you're with, but they've got that within their own systems. You should still be checking that those SSL certificates will auto renew, that they will stay current, that they're not going to just expire and you don't have to do something with it. If you're paying for an SSL certificate because you want that extra level of security, like some certificates give you extra levels of security or protection against attacks, malicious things happening. If you are paying for those certificates, you will need to make sure that you are renewing them yourself, that they don't normally go through your hosting service as part of the hosting service. So do check, when they're due for renewal. Make sure you have access to the email address that the renewal notices will go on. Make sure you've got access to the accounts where you can actually renew them. So do check your SSL certificates. Audit your client access, or your client access should be audited. If you are managing websites or systems for clients, audit access once a year, okay, at least once a year. Most of these things I'm going to say they're at least once a year. Which clients still have admin access to their sites? Who has access to your systems that shouldn't have any more? What contractors or staff members who've left still have login credentials? Annual access audits prevent security issues from old accounts that should have been disabled months ago. This is another huge one that I see. So I get someone saying, my site got hacked. Well, which account did they get in on this one? Well, does that person still exist? No, they left years ago, or we don't deal with them anymore and we didn't delete their account. So make sure this is a great time to actually make sure you know who has access to your systems, what they have access to within your systems. And if they don't, you can just get rid of them. You can remove them. You can replace them with someone else. Okay, now we're going to talk about some seasonal stuff. So that's stuff that you can do once a year. Now I'm going to say at least once a year. These are the things that you should be doing more regularly throughout the year. Quarterly website health checks. Now, some of these things that are in the list that have come up quarterly, I'm going to say, we're going to move them out a little bit. Every quarter, you need to check your website health. Run a broken link checker quarterly, that's fine. Test your contact forms quarterly, that's fine. Check your page load speeds are good. Verify backups are working. Look at your analytics to see if there's anything changed dramatically. Now, that one's a good one. If you're looking at your analytics and you see that there's been spikes and then drops and you don't have anything that correlates, you haven't done anything that correlates to getting more traffic to your site, you're probably seeing a lot of bot activity. You're probably seeing a lot of malicious activity. And if you're seeing that regularly enough, your tech team, your tech people can probably do things to smooth that out and just stop those spikes affecting the performance of your website. Quarterly checks catch problems before they become crises. What crises? 4 times a year is frequent enough to stay on top of those issues without it becoming overwhelming. So I like to do those sorts of things quarterly. Monthly, once a month, you should actually be verifying your backups are actually running. So not testing them, but making sure that they're running. Uh, Make sure you understand what your backup schedule is. Make sure something hasn't glitched and it's stopped the backups running. I've seen that happen too. Check that your local computer is actually running a backup. If you're not running a backup on your local computer, consider doing that. Confirm your cloud storage is still syncing, making sure that, like my phone will sync my photos to my OneDrive account. My computer will sync its files, the documents that I have to a cloud storage account, and then it also should once a week back up to a local SSD drive I have. Uh, from another computer or from your phone, download a backup file, spot check that it contains all the current data. This monthly verification means that if backup fails, you catch it within weeks instead of months, if not years, and you're not going to have a whole heap of missing data. Let's talk about weekly email management. I hate email management. I am terrible at it. I'm going to say this is my biggest weakness. Try to deal with the email accumulation once a week. Unsubscribe from newsletters you've never read. Delete emails you've been saving for no reason. Process emails that have been sitting in your inbox for weeks waiting for a response. Archive or delete emails that no longer need action. If you can do this weekly, so weekly email management, it's going to prevent the overwhelm of trying to process months of accumulated email all at once. Now, I get that this one is probably really tricky because sometimes you get down that rabbit hole of, I'll just deal with that now. And then hours pass, you're like, well, I got through one email. Go me. Yeah, that might be me. Okay, let's talk about seasonal software update windows. So rather than updating software constantly or ignoring updates until something breaks, set seasonal update windows. At the beginning of a quarter, update, go through and make sure that all your WordPress website is completely updated. Now, you should be doing that weekly. I'll come back to it, but I do this for clients weekly. But once a quarter, it's a really good idea to go through and see, are all my plugins still current? Are all my subscriptions still current? Do I need to still be using these plugins? Even down to, do I still need to be using these plugins? Are these plugins actually doing something for me, or are they just something that we've carried on from previously? Uh, Update your operating system. Honestly, you've got Windows. If you're running Windows, it will be doing updates pretty much all the time. Worthwhile going through once a quarter and just making sure that all those updates are done. Business applications, whatever else you've got. Okay, so let's move on. We're going to talk about data cleanup. Now, my notes here say end of quarter data cleanup. Every quarter, clean up accumulated digital clutter. Delete old files you don't need. Organize documents into proper folders. Clean up your downloads folder. Archive completed projects. Clean old screenshots and temporary files. Such important stuff. And it's, if you overlook it, one day you look and you're like, how do I have so many screenshots sitting here? Quarterly cleanup prevents digital hoarding where you accumulate years of files you're never going to look at again and can't find anything when you need it. It's a big one, and setting yourself a couple of hours every quarter to go through and say, right, I'm going to work on, for me, my Snagit screenshots and clean out all of those that I don't need anymore. I'm going to look at my downloads folder and clean that out. My downloads folder gets very big because I do a lot of testing and I put a lot of stuff into my downloads folder. Really, really big stuff here to look at. Okay, look, let's talk about building systems so that you can actually stick to it, because this is a lot of talk I've done, a lot of things that you should be doing or could be doing. And great, but how do we sort this out? I like the idea of putting recurring calendar blocks for each tech tradition into my calendar. But For example, the first Monday of the quarter could be your website health checks. The last Friday of the month could be for backup verification. You might use your birthday for password audits. I'm not sure that's a birthday gift I want to give myself. If it's not in your calendar with protected time, it won't happen. So you can treat your tech maintenance like any other recurring business task that deserves dedicated time rather than something you'll get to eventually. You might also consider attaching your tech traditions to existing routines. End of the financial year, well, maybe that's when you review your subscriptions. And that's probably a really good time to do it. Just before you do your end of financial year, go through all your subscriptions and say, am I still using these? Do I still need them? When do you make sure all your software updates on your computer are done? Maybe you do that Friday afternoon just before you shut down. When do you do your weekly email management? Or maybe that's Friday afternoon, maybe it's Monday morning, maybe it's a slow Wednesday afternoon. Piggybacking on existing routines means you are more likely to remember and actually to do it rather than creating standalone tasks that get forgotten. Now, a lot of this stuff, by the way, comes from James Clear's Atomic Habits. Find a habit that you do consistently, put something else on it, and just start changing habits. And eventually you end up with a whole heap of things that you do automatically because they're now habits. Next big one, document the process. This would be the biggest single thing, I think. I keep saying that. This would be one of the biggest single things I think I see when I go to help people. It's like, well, how do you do this? I don't know. But you've done it before. Yeah. I can't remember how I did it. Write it down. The first time you do something, write it down. Even if it's just dot points, write it down. Even if you get your video camera, your screen capture camera going, and you just video what you've done, get it written down. It might not be perfect. No, no, it won't be perfect the first time. The next time you go back to do it, step through the process, make more notes, clean up the process, make sure it makes sense to you. By documenting it, you're not only making it a habit, you're making it repeatable. And if you get to that point where you've got goldfish brain, someone else does, me, for example, you can actually go through that process and let that process, let the written process walk you through it and do the thinking for you. I think setting these things as a tradition, as a habit that you get into is a really good idea. It's not only going to streamline your business, it should save you some money overall. It should give you confidence that your systems are going to work and you're not sort of sitting there going, "Oh, please, please, please make sure this works for me." And it also gives you an idea of the things that you're doing that maybe you can pass off to other people, and you've already got the processes written, you've got the things in place as to how it all works. Maybe you can then start to push that out to your team and get other people to help you doing it. Tech traditions aren't about being perfect or doing everything right. They're about building recurring practices that catch problems before they become crises and keep processes and keep your tech running smoothly throughout the year. I would suggest that you pick one tech tradition that you would that would make your tech life easier. Maybe it's your password audits, maybe it's your security reviews, maybe it's just subscription reviews, and start it. Start with something small, document the process, give yourself permission to skip it occasionally, but don't skip it all the time. But skip it occasionally, but don't abandon the whole system. Don't skip it all the time. If you need help setting up these tech systems that actually work for your business, you've got people like me. If it's not me, there are other people out there, but this is what we do. This is how we help people. If you need help, if you're not sure where to start, if you're not sure what to start with, you can always book your free 30-minute breakthrough session with me. I'd love to have a chat to you about it. It's one session per person, not multiple sessions per people. So please bear that in mind. But if you want to book a breakthrough session, come across and visit me at askcharlyleetham.com. In the top right hand corner, there's a button to say book your breakthrough session. Love to hear from you. If it's not me, go and talk to your tech support people, go and talk to your tech team and say, how can we do this? What do we start with? How do we make this happen? It's really, really worth doing it. All right, guys, what do you think? We're heading into the end of the year. We've done some pretty heavy stuff throughout the year. I've done some pretty light stuff as well. What did you think of this one? Is there anything that you do regularly already that you think you can add something to? Is this something that you'd be interested in starting in and haven't done it? I'd love to know. And then I'd love to know if I've asked more questions than I've answered. I do enjoy that one too. If you've got any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments wherever you are watching or listening to these videos. I will get back to them eventually. If the video was useful to you, please give it a like and maybe share it with a friend. And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you find out when I drop more content. And I will see you guys all the day after tomorrow. Bye. Hey there, thanks so much for tuning in to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost. I hope today's episode gave you some actionable insights that will make your business tech work smarter for you. If you found value, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other small business owners who could use a daily boost. For more tips, tools, and resources, visit www.askcharlyleetham.com. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and let's make tech simple together.